and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with a Kick. We are here a little belatedly, but not everybody can stay healthy. Well, a little belatedly, but we are here nonetheless.
Hey man, not everyone can stay healthy. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
That's what, I mean, if you're not in America, the influenza, both A and B, is attacking Americans kind of like COVID did 5 years ago.
And norovirus. There's a couple things flying around that people are not having a good time with.
Yeah, I never got it. However, my family was down for 8 days. So, yeah, I know people who are like double digits still going. So if you've got it, we cheers to you. Hopefully you get better.
Prost.
But hey, man, crazy Premier League weekend we saw happen.
It was, and quite antithetically for our two clubs, respectively. It went well for me and not for you. And you know what? We'll go ahead and get started. By
admission, I found joy in your team winning. Wolves got it done.
Yeah.
So I found some joy, but yeah, my team not so hot.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll start off with a rip-roaring start of a first game here. 7-0 victory for Nottingham Forest over Brighton Hove Albion. Nottingham, you told me this, they were steaming. They came off that loss last week, and they were not happy about it. And, at the beginning, it was unlucky for the first goal for Brighton to give that one up. Second goal, though, you're unmarked, and the goalkeeper probably should have saved it. Third one, defense, you lose your mark again. It was the easy one. Then it didn't really get better. The 38th minute was 38th minute. This was an important moment in the match. 38th minute, Brighton almost got one back just before halftime, which could have changed the whole tenor of the match. It was only 2-0 at that point. So, didn't happen that way. And then we come back in the shortly thereafter. Oh, sorry, it would have been 3-1. Yeah, Chris Wood had already had his first at that point. But we come back and Wood get lost again by the D for the 64th minute goal. Brighton had a little bit of a good start of the half, but then you get the fourth one. The fifth, 5 minutes later, obvious penalty. It was not even close. There's another one here that we'll get to just a second. That's how I'll describe it. Neco Williams, 89th minute, a bit lucky. And then insult to injury in the 90+1 with terrible goalkeeper giveaway, terrible goalkeeper decision. Wasn't a great one for Brighton. Brighton on a bit of a streak here, not looking great for Brighton. Luckily they had a good start to the season. Otherwise, you know what? We should expect it. Think about it now. They just extended their good streak at the beginning of the season and are now plummeting back down the chart.
Yeah. If you haven't heard it yet, I'd encourage you to go back over and listen to our prediction for this game because I was correct, and it was not by popular opinion from the quote experts out there at Sky Sports and ESPN. Having seen Nuno at Wolves, I even mentioned it, that Nuno's the type of manager that he lights a fire under his team. When games like the previous one happened, you're just not going to get beat like they got beat 5-0 and not come out and play well. I thought it was going to be a bit closer.
Yeah.
Blew it out of the water with 7-0. But Nottingham, they played with a sort of vigor I don't think we've seen them play with in a while. Even on their streaks of wins, it was kind of that consistent, just playful fun. But this was we're coming to roll some heads. Yeah, we're coming to prove that we deserve to be here. So good on them. Brighton, similarly to how Nottingham played last week, it was just we just can't stop it. We don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and, Brighton, they get Chelsea up next, but they're at home. So we'll get to that here later this episode. We'll get to the picks for the match day coming up, not this weekend. But starting on Tuesday, we've got the Merseyside Derby rematch, and then going into, I believe it was Friday is the first match, and then Saturday, and so on and so forth. But we'll get to that later on. Now we'll get to the one that, Liverpool comes out, 2-0 victory. But that does not tell the tale of this match. Bournemouth was boy, they had lots of chances. Bournemouth had lots of chances in this one. They played very well. 20th minute, Semenyo hits the frame. Could have gone in very easily. The penalty for Liverpool there, I thought it was weak. I thought that was a super lame penalty. I thought that was a clear and obvious error, but VAR decided not to intervene. What's your thoughts on that penalty?
Yeah, right there with you. I felt like there have been times this season where VAR has kind of been timid to overturn the on-field decision when it's kind of the reason we have VAR to overturn some of these decisions. Not the first game, so it didn't really shock me when they decided to just stick with it. But yeah, I felt like it was soft, especially in such a big game.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a full redo. I mean, some managers have already come out and talked about it, how it's like we should either have it and it should work fully, or we just shouldn't have it at all, because it was instituted to overturn stuff like this, and it's not helping.
No.
So it really set the tone for the rest of the game. Like once Liverpool went up 1-0, Bournemouth had their chances, but it just kind of, when you're down 1-0, you got to play a little differently, and it was kind of out of Bournemouth's style of play that they want to be playing.
Yeah, and going off of that, they had a very close, they had a goal, but the narrowest of offsides. In the 37th minute, Bournemouth almost got it back 1-1 just before halftime. But then they went into the halftime, and Liverpool's like, okay, guys, just like coast this one out to the end of the match. And they sucked it in pretty well. Shoot, what does that say? That's what it was. It was the 70th minute, Bournemouth had their other chance. Travener, that's who it was. Travener got a great shot in, and it was flubbed a tap in by Kluivert. So it could have been 1-1 even then in the 75th minute before the 75th minute goal by Salah on just like a really, really clever counterattack. Salah gets put onto the right-hand side of the pitch, pulls it off, hits a great shot with his left. Goalkeeper had no chance. And from there, you're like, okay, yeah, this is over. 2-0 for Liverpool. Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Bournemouth deserved it. They played probably better than Liverpool did in this match, but champions win matches like this. That's why they're the champions. So they're 9 points clear of Nottingham Forest, 7 of Arsenal at the moment, I believe. Hold on, let me get back up there. 6, only 6 of Arsenal. So they got to keep their pedal to the metal, and they have to manage 2 matches here in the midweek and then the weekend. So we'll see if that puts any rust on them. But we'll move on from that to the next one, which was Everton and Leicester. What did you think about that result from Everton?
It's a big one. Big result from Everton. I think that, again, another one that just kind of got away from them early. Like I didn't feel
very early.
Over the course of the match, Everton was that much better. But when you give up 2 goals in the first 6 minutes, it's really hard to recover, especially when you're a team like Leicester. So second half, you could kind of see them passing it around, but there wasn't much intent when you're already down 3-0. So, but I mean, Everton, like I told you, with some new coaching and starting to work out, so they could prove an issue moving forward. And I think their safety, I'm not going to say guaranteed, but this one really solidifies, hey, we're now 3 matches, almost 4. I guess 17 points is where 18th is at. So they're 4 matches away from being down the bottom. So that's a pretty good cushion for them.
Yeah, and Leicester is the one who is in the 18th spot now. So they just beat the team that be chasing them most. 4th fastest goal ever in the Premier League. I'm surprised you can get 4 faster, or 3 faster, I should say. Crazy. I disagree though. I thought Everton had this one. Like it was kind of even, but the gaffes by Leicester City showed why they're in the position they are in the on the table right now. Defense got Beto beat the backline all by himself there for the second goal. Basically on the third goal, that one was just a wondrous through ball. by James Garner to release Beto for the third. And then on the last one, I mean, it was the 90th minute, so you can kind of forgive it, I suppose. But the defense just totally fell asleep on Ndiaye's goal. It was really did not instill any confidence in Leicester performing better. And I think we're probably pretty well on the way to having a 3-up, 3-down scenario for this season. I mean, it comes down to if my Wolves can maintain their spot, which, they're exactly where I thought they'd be. The other bottom three, not so much, but my Wolves are exactly where they thought they'd be. Yeah, but poor result from Leicester, obviously. And then we go to probably the best result that a team's had all season. Southampton 2-1 victory over Ipswich Town. Surprise, surprise. Now, do they deserve to have the 2-1 victory? Listen, they get the 3 points regardless of how they play. But that first goal was a bit lucky for Southampton. Ipswich got their own bit of luck with the Liam Delap. Muric in this one really let Ipswich Town down, I thought. I thought that he could have made both of those saves in the 21st minute, and then he deflected it right into the middle in front of Onuachu for Southampton. Bad goalkeeping move there. Just if you're going to be deflecting, deflect it out, right? You never deflect it back to the middle. That's the worst thing. We'll see that gets another team caught up here in just a second, putting it into the middle when you're on defense. But yeah, not Southampton. I don't know if it's just going to be a bit of a consolation prize to not end up being the worst team ever. They've still got some work to do, but this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, this game, besides the scoreline, kind of went as we both predicted. Like Ipswich kind of, I wouldn't say dominated the game, but they were definitely the better looking team.
Yeah.
They possessed a little better. Their attacks looked more fluid, but you're right. How you play doesn't always determine what the points you get are. And Southampton, they had to have it. We said they had to have it if they had any chance of staying up, and they got it. So does this mean they'll keep it up? We'll see.
They'd have to double their point production for the entire season in the last 14 matches. And my Wolves couldn't get another point, and Leicester could win one more. The odds of them staying up are so distant. So the odds are so slim that I know it'll take a Phoenix level resurgence here for them to have anything occur. But I think you just shoot for not being the worst team ever. I think that's your goal. If you can get there, just try to be forgettable. Hopefully your season can be forgettable at this point. That's what you're hoping for if you're Southampton. We'll move on from that. This as far as picks are concerned for this week, neither of us did particularly well. We both barely scraped by in the positive units, but it was mostly thanks to the end of the weekend that we did, because it was not great starting off. You got the Nottingham Forest one right and the Everton one right, and then we'll get to the other one that you got right that helped you pull through. Well, the real one that helped you pull through we'll get to a little bit later, but right now we'll get to Newcastle and Fulham, with Fulham taking a 2-1 victory there.
Yeah, this one I felt like Newcastle kind of had an eye on the EFL Cup in the midweek. Like, they just didn't look like they were all there in this match, so I felt like they were, I don't know, they were fine. I didn't think that they necessarily didn't have their full focus. That's all. So they had the eye on the EFL Cup. It showed. They ended up dominating Arsenal in the EFL Cup. But yeah, this one, Fulham just looked like they wanted it more, to be honest, and they got it.
Yeah, it sort of felt like even after going down 1-0, Fulham was confident in what they were doing, and they just worked their way back into the match. 61st minute, got the Raul Jimenez goal. Anthony Robinson with the assist. That's right, America. And then
he is now number 2 in assists. He hit double digits. He's now at 10.
Listen, I think we both pegged him as their player to watch for the season. So, which isn't exactly an earth-shattering prediction, considering I believe he was their player of the year last year. So That's not exactly the most insightful thing we've said. We've had way more insightful things, obviously, than Anthony Robinson was the guy to watch. But yeah, and then Fulham, they were just confident in their own game plan and ended up with the 3 points. I mean, good on them. I think, unfortunately, neither of us picked that. Yeah, neither of us picked that. We thought it was going to be a draw. And you know what? To be frank, it was a draw for a long time. Draw was looking somewhat likely for a good bit. But 82nd minute, Muniz did get his goal with Andres Perea giving it to him. Nice little touch is simple, I think. I don't know what that says. I forgot to put bullet points in here, so sometimes the notes just kind of run together. Then we'll move to one that I'm just super excited to talk about here. My Wolves beating Aston Villa 2-0. Woo! On top of that, Cunha declared that he is staying with Wolves. He's going to sign an extension with us, last I saw. Did our transfer get stolen from us that we were shooting to get on defense? Yes, that did occur, but you know what? We came out of it and won a match. And do you know why? Do you know why we won the match? Because the one time that they did score on a free kick, it was offsides because the guy offsides impeded our defender. So the perennial free kick consolation was called back, and we were saved by that. Other than that, though, the first goal for my Wolves, very nice tight passing for the Bellegarde goal. I mean, it was a very classy goal, the first one. The second one was just Matheus Cunha going dancing. He was salsa dancing in the box all by his lonesome and juked out basically the whole defensive backline for Aston Villa and netted the icing on the cake essentially. But yeah, hey, my Wolves, I thought that it felt like an even match, you know? I didn't feel like we were hanging on by the skin of our teeth. I thought we were in this thing the whole time.
I will one up that assessment and say that I thought Wolves should have won this by more. There were several fast break opportunities where Cunha could have had a hat trick in this one. There were a few, but not only Cunha, but where is he here? Giancarlo Guedes also.
Yes,
he did
flub
attempts.
Quite a few of those.
Fluffed them all. The announcer even made the comment of he could have a hat trick right now in the first half. Maybe if that's Strand Larson, it is a hat trick. I'm not going to speculate, but his boots were not there that day. But Wolves still got it done. Per my prediction, I felt like this was one of those where they matched up really well. They're at home, and really crucial victory.
Yes,
and crucial keeping Matheus Cunha.
Yeah.
Glad he scored at the end, though, because I don't know if he signs that contract extension if he doesn't score. I think he was just in a good mood by getting the
he scores at the end. He sees the rest of the results across the week, and he's like, okay, I'm feeling confident that like I'm vital enough that they're going to treat me right, and we're going to stay up now. Because we talked about the Wolves' schedule, and like this was the period where you're just trying to get through without having too much damage dealt. Getting 3 points, that's a bonus right now. We still have another month before we get to the easy portion of the schedule again.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. I think Wolves are finally getting into the groove of things. Sarabia played very well in this one. He made some very, very precise passes that, again, Guedes just could not finish. But if they keep that up and they can get healthy and get a striker that can actually finish, I think it's going to be lethal for Wolves moving forward.
I mean, your lips to God's ears, man. I'm just hoping so. Move on to another team that has escaped the precipitous decline that they had found themselves within. Tottenham Hotspur beats Brentford 2-0. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, I don't know about escape. They still looked horrible in this match. It's just that own goal came at such a pivotal moment that then Tottenham just pumped the brakes. Like it seemed like we're going to possess it in the back a little bit, maybe in the middle, but we're not really going to try to go shoot the ball. The Sarr goal at the end, more of a consolation than anything to solidify the win, but I feel like Brentford just didn't have the teeth in this one that they usually do, and Tottenham got lucky there. That's for sure.
Efficiency. Yeah.
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 So I don't know. I think Tottenham's play, again, I'll touch on the EFL Cup that came in the midweek. They looked horrible and lost because of that.
Yeah.
I think it was just Brentford. It was just a bad day at the office for Brentford as opposed to a good day at the office for Tottenham.
I still think that may be overstating a little bit. That was a very lucky own goal, and really, the goalkeeper should have been better on the SAR. It was a great ball by Youngman's son Youngmin. Son. Great through ball by him for setting up SAR, but still, a bit on the goalkeeper on that one. I thought it was certainly you could have stopped it. But they got through, and they could take on Manchester United up next, who we will be talking about right now as well, who are on, maybe they're back on the way down. I don't know that anybody's going to catch them. That's in the relegation right now, but I mean they're a full 12 points up, so probably not. But we'll see what happens with this matchup coming up on the weekend. But yeah, first we got to talk about them taking it against the teeth. 2-0 victory for Crystal Palace over Manchester United. What are my notes here for that?
This was another one where I felt like all of my victories in this one went exactly how I predicted them. This was a classic Crystal Palace win.
Yeah.
We don't need to possess the ball. We don't even need to really attack. United's going to give us what we need when we need it. And Mateta's going to be a clinical finisher when we need him to be. As we both kind of said, classic Crystal Palace win. They're just going to let Man U try to break through them, and they're going to break through on the counterattack.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Man U, they not looking good. As Amram said this midweek, we're all fighting for our jobs. That's what we're hoping to do by the summer, is to still have jobs.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Crystal Palace, they seem to be, under this manager they have, just the spring footballing wizards. Spring hits, the second semester, as you might say, comes to fruition. The new year turns, and they just kick it on. I don't know what happens, but they're going on another streak, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they've only lost since they were down in 19th, mind you. Down in 19th, match week 12. Yeah. They've only lost twice since November 23rd. So, yeah, they only lost twice since November 23rd, and one of those was against Arsenal. The other was against Brentford. So, that one's a bit of a mid-table sort of thing. But, yeah, I mean, we were talking about how underperforming they had been for the first half of the season. But they have certainly turned it around since then. And now we're looking at them and we're like, hey, we can trust them to go in and take care of business, which is certainly not something we were saying back in November. But yeah, it played out so perfectly. This was the one time we should have stuck with it. You talked about this with me outside the episode, that we both said 2-0 here. Say, well, we can't agree because no one will get it then. Apparently this time we should have stuck with it, because 2-0 it was, and that put me in the green for this match day, and it put you in the green for this match day. That 4-unit swing looking pretty good there. Pretty good. Now
this match also made me some moolah because I was that confident on the money line for Crystal Palace. So
wow, I did fine as well when it comes down to that. I put some on it too. Now this next one lost me money because Arsenal goes in. Well, they don't go in anywhere. Manchester City comes in and gets a good old spanking by Arsenal with it's been some common mistakes that we've seen from City across the week. Why don't you go ahead? I got to talk about my team. I'll let you talk about yours.
As if the last Premier League match day, when we gave up a goal in within 50 seconds, we didn't think that was appropriate enough of a punishment for ourselves. So we gave up a goal almost just as quick, a little bit later. But again, just poor passes at the back. That was kind of the theme of this match.
Yeah.
Poor passes. The dagger was Partey's 56th minute when Foden just ill-advised pass, not even a good pass.
No.
Maybe Partey was hiding behind the ref. You can kind of see it, but I don't know, poor pass, trying to go from the right to the left, hitting an open guy. Partey intercepts it. no one steps to him, and he just I don't want to say blast one in. He hits off Stones' back and goes in. I'm pretty sure it was going way over the bar. But that one deflating because it had just been 1-1. Holland gets a goal. Then it goes 2-1. Lewis Skelly, the man who was supposed to be on a 3-match ban, got his red card overturned, comes in and scores, whatever that means, Premier League. But, I didn't know we were just overturning reds because they were controversial now. And then it felt like by the end, the City had kind of like resigned to the loss once it went 3-1. You could like see the body language. Some subs were made. Havertz's goal, both Havertz and Nwaneri were just consolation goals. City's body language is gone. I wasn't too mad because an Arsenal got it taken to him in the midweek. But, yeah, this one was just really – it was a good game. The opening goal really set City back for a long bit of it. 5-1 is one of those score lines where, similarly to like the 5-0 to Bournemouth v Nottingham last week, was it that bad? Honestly, not really. It just you couldn't keep them out of the net no matter what they did. So I don't know. Just one of those that you chalk off the board. It happened. You move on. Good for Arsenal, though. It really keeps them in the Liverpool race.
Yeah, and maybe that's the silver lining here. That, and I think that City at this point, I know it's not really Pep's style, but you can kind of back burner the Premier League at this point. You got to chase that fourth spot on the table, but you made it through in the Champions League. You can kind of focus on that, prioritize that a little bit. And maybe that's sort of what you can focus on going forward. Since we were joking that maybe there's a chance that City could catch them. At this point, there's a 0% chance. There's only a non-zero chance that City could catch them. Even if they win out, they're still down by 15 points, and that's an insurmountable margin in any sort of likely reality. So at this point, you just got to hope that. That you can catch some slips from Chelsea and maybe Nottingham Forest, although not even Nottingham Forest you're 6 points down on, so that's going to take some work to catch them as well. Going to take some slips from Nottingham Forest. But hey, guess what? If you win the Champions League, automatic qualification for next season. Don't even have to worry about the Premier League at all.
I'll just hope that we try in both. That's all I hope.
That's
I would hate
more
to,
likely.
End up sixth.
No.
But either way, then it's like, well, now we got to win the Premier League next year. But
But we will move on from that to Chelsea taking out West Ham 2-1 in this one.
Really thought my 2-2 draw was going to come through in this one. I was feeling good about it. Even after the own goal, I felt good, but West Ham couldn't do it for me.
No, they could not pull it through. They were gifted a goal, basically, with a big mistake by Chelsea's defense to give West Ham their first one. And really I thought it was their only real chance, West Ham. They had some other long-range shots. Then it was for the second one was an unlucky deflection for the Wan-Bissaka goal, or own goal off of Wan-Bissaka. So that was unfortunate for West Ham. But listen, I'll take the dub. I picked Chelsea to win it, so I'm not mad about it. And I need Chelsea to get back up towards second. I don't think it's going to happen, but we need all the help we can get with our preseason predictions at this point. I'll take it from anything. Nottingham Forest, Manchester United have murdered both of us.
I think Nottingham Forest is the exact opposite of what I picked them. I think I picked them 18th, and now they're third.
I believe that's correct.
So feeling real good. About that.
Not a great result, and I think you also had Manchester United in fourth.
Had a little bit of pride. We don't even remember that Ten Hag was their manager at this point, but he was, and I had some faith in him. I should have listened to Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo said he's had a lot of managers and not all of them know what football is. And that was right after he left Man U when he made that comment. So I wish I would have Ronaldo's always right, I guess, but it's fine.
Well, okay, I'll one up you though because I had Tottenham in fourth, so we
Yeah,
are
there you
both
go.
in the same boat
I'm
there.
certain I had Tottenham up there as well, but
We actually had Tottenham and Manchester United in inverted positions. So you had Man U in fourth and Tottenham in sixth. I had Tottenham in fourth and Man U in sixth. That Liverpool in seventh and eighth for us, though, also not doing us any favors.
yeah.
That one may have been a bit of bias. We'll chalk that one up to some bias.
That one was mainly because Klopp left. We were like, we don't know what's going to happen.
They didn't really do much to get better in the offseason. Klopp left. We can make up more excuses. We'll find some more before we come to the. We'll find some more before we come up to the end. Darwin Nunez is my player to watch. Is funny though because he's barely even been on the field. I feel like. But that wraps up match day 24 for the Premier League, and that brings us to first we've got Wednesday on the 12th. We got the Merseyside Derby Part 2 rescheduled Merseyside Derby. Everton coming off of the win. I don't think it makes a difference in this. I think Liverpool is still going to take care of business. I'll give Everton one goal, though. I'll say it's 3-1 Liverpool over Everton.
Liverpoon over
Everton.
I'm going to go with 1-0 victory, Everton. Everton's playing really well. Liverpool,
true.
We've talked about how they've been kind of surviving over the last bit, where it's been besides Ipswichtown, 2-0, 1-0, 2-1, kind of just the slow catching those breaks. The Derby, I think the invigorated Everton's going to come in looking to bust some kneecaps, honestly. Whoa. And I think they get it because Liverpool, played midweek. I think they're also playing on the weekend in the FA Cup. We'll see how many starters actually play. Then they're going to be playing Everton, then playing again on the weekend. And on the weekend, they have Wolves at home.
That's right.
So, a couple of tricky games, to be honest. Everton and Wolves are right down there at 16 and 17, but
two teams on the come
games
up
based on form.
Yeah, two teams on the come up. Listen, I wouldn't be mad at it if Everton won it. I won't take it though. I'm not going to touch it. This next one though, I will be touching because to put it as creepily as possible. Brighton Hove Albion takes on Chelsea. You know what we've said about Brighton at home? They're not good. And if you're going to give me 2 units for Chelsea away against a team who's bad at home, I'm going to take it. 2-0 for Chelsea.
Yeah, similar goal difference. I've got it 3-1. Brighton getting beat 7-0. I think that was their first game they haven't scored in a long time. I think they had gone on a streak of 10 to 12 games where they scored and their opponent scored. But you're right, at home they've been pretty bad, but they were doing swell away from home. Then they got beat 7-0, so maybe they'll come back and win 7-0 here. But I think 3-1 Chelsea. I think the units play is strong here.
Yeah,
I think Chelsea just is more talented.
That is certainly true. Both teams are rather volatile this season, but Chelsea is definitely a better side overall. Then we go to Leicester City hosting Arsenal. I'll let you start this one off here.
Oh, I would love to say that Leicester's going to win. They've been better-ish at home. I'm going to go a units play of 1-1 draw.
Wow.
I think Leicester's got to have it. Arsenal just got smacked around a little bit in the EFL Cup, but just smacked City around. And we've seen this season, the teams, whenever you smack one team, you kind of get beat the next week or you don't get a good result. Only Liverpool has stayed consistent. So, yeah, I think 1-1, just for odds' sake.
I disagree. I think it's going to be 4-0 Arsenal. Leicester, I don't trust them to play well at all. They lost 4-0 to Everton, and it didn't look good. And Everton's not a great side. So I think Arsenal is definitely better and can certainly exploit the sort of the bad tracking that they currently have on their back line. And that's for a team that can be, actually efficient on offense as Arsenal can be. I think that they'll take full advantage. Then we go to this one. This one's interesting. Aston Villa hosts Ipswich Town. Ipswich Town coming off of a loss to Southampton, the worst team in the league. I think they bounce back here. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going out. I got to stop trusting these tractor boys because I don't think they've ever come through for me this season. I don't think they've ever come through for me. I'm pretty sure a couple weeks ago I said, I got to stop riding that horse. I'm back up on the horse. 2-1 victory for Ipswich Town over Aston Villa coming up this weekend. Next weekend.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for you, that horse has been deceased for a minute.
I'm back up on the horse, beating that dead horse, I think is probably what's going on. But,
Right.
Listen, I can have some fun every now and then.
Yeah, I'm on 3-0 Aston Villa. I think they brought in a couple of transfers that we'll mention briefly at the end of this episode. But I think they're going to come out. They also need to bounce back. Your Wolves beat them. So I think they're going to win 3-0.
Yeah, it's probably more likely. Then this one, man, they're dangling another Nottingham dog in my face. Another tricky tree dog in my face. Fulham versus Nottingham Forest. Both teams doing pretty well right now. How do you think this one goes down?
I simply because of that, I have it 1-1. I think it's just a draw. I think both teams play well. Similar styles of play.
Yeah.
So I think 1-1, which benefits Fulham more than Nottingham. Because,
it does.
Again, at what point did we think we would be saying, oh, Nottingham needs to win to stay in the Champions League race? But they do. I think if I lean one way, I would lean towards Nottingham. Because 7-0 is a ridiculous. That's like one of those where it's like 1-4, it was 7-0.
Yeah.
So you're walking around with thicker pants the next week. So I'm going 1-1 draw just because Fulham's also playing pretty well.
I'm on the same wavelength. I've just got it 2-2 instead. 2-2 for Nottingham and Fulham. Coming off of 7, they probably. I think they can get more than one. It'll come down to a lot of how well Fulham can contain them. But I think it'll be a good match. Fulham typically is playing good matches right now. Then we go to teams coming off of losses. Manchester City and Newcastle at the Etihad. I'll be brief. I think that... I said I was going to be brief. I think that Manchester City... Oof, do I trust them? I got it. I'm going to trust them. I'm going to say 3-1. I think that Holland gets a brace. I think that Newcastle stumbles again. But this time it's a bit more acceptable being at the Etihad.
Yeah, I had the same score line.
I'll make it 4-2.
No. I already moved it.
Oh, you already
4-1.
moved it.
I moved it on my sheet. I'm gonna go 4-1. I think my only concern is in the midweek City play Real Madrid, so you never know what's gonna happen. But I do think they're gonna come out and win 4-1. I think that happens.
I think so. And then Bournemouth gets a reprieve after their loss to Liverpool and gets to go to Southampton. How do you think this one shakes out?
Yeah, I think Bournemouth beats Southampton. I think that it's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm going to go 0-3. Bournemouth is just they're a better competition than the old Tractor Boys.
Well, that Tractor Boys are Ipswich Town. Southampton, I don't know what they're called. You're saying then the Tractor Boys. I see what you're saying because they played Tractor Boys last week. Yep, got it.
The Saints go marching in.
They are also the Saints. Southampton, yes. I also had 3-0. I moved it to 2-0. I put it up to 4-0 for a second. I was like, I'm going to go back up. I'm going to go back up to 4-0 for Bournemouth.
This one I genuinely believe with Southampton's faux confidence after beating Ipswich, it could be 8 or 9-0. Bournemouth is just that much better than them and has shown that they can score a lot.
Yeah.
But 3-0 feels good for me.
3-0, 4-0, I think that's good. All right, then we go to West Ham and Brentford, who... Wait, did I get... Yeah, I got that right. Yeah, Brentford. This one's a pretty even match. I don't got a good feel for this one, to be honest. I'm just gonna go with I'm gonna go with a double bagel here for no reason whatsoever. Double bagel, 0-0. Chalking it in.
I think I'm going to go 2-0 West Ham. They're playing a bit better than Brentford as of late. And I think that with their new manager as well, they've been playing much better style of football. So 2-0 for me.
2-0 for you. All right. Then we go to Everton's second half of their picks here. They have to go to Crystal Palace. And I do think that Crystal Palace will beat them. I think Crystal Palace will beat them. I'm going to say they win this one 2-0 as well. It worked for me last time. I'm going to keep rolling with a 2-0 victory.
I have it 1-0 Crystal Palace. I thought about the double bagel here, but I feel like just 3 days prior being in the Merseyside derby, the emotions in that, I think they'll just be a little gassed coming into this one. So I think they lose 1-0.
This next one. Liverpool and the Wolves. Do I go for it? Do I pull the trigger? I'm going to ride with my Wolves. I'm going to ride with my Wolves. 2-1.
Wow.
2-1 victory for my Wolves. Liverpool drops, if your result holds in the first and my result holds in the second, then Liverpool would drop 2 in a row, which would be crazy. Pandemonium.
Yeah, this one I have 2-1, the opposite way. Liverpool winning. Wolves have been, if this was at Wolverhampton, I would be sniffing out a draw, if not a win for Wolves. They just haven't been great away from home. So, yeah, I think with my prediction of Everton beating Liverpool, I think Liverpool comes back, wins it 2-1. I do think it'll be close, though. Wolves does play a good style against like the wing counterattacking type teams. So
just gotta keep the free kicks and corner kicks to a minimum. That's what you gotta do. And then we'll move on to the last one of the match day. Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United, the underperformer bowl we have for this one here. I don't trust either of these teams to win. I'm gonna go 3-3. A really weird 3-3 match. That's what I'm going for here.
We're on the same wavelength of 6 goals, but I have it 4-2 Tottenham.
Wow. Ainge saves himself.
I think that this is literally the game where both these managers are like, if I don't win this one, I'm probably gone.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think Tottenham comes out. I just think they may be horrible, but they at least have a better structure surrounding them. I don't know what Man United's structure is because their defenders are the only ones scoring for them. I mean, Harry Maguire saved him in the old cup game that they played today.
Yeah.
Martinez is the only reason why they won a game recently. So, I mean, I think that Tottenham just has to keep their defenders from moving forward and they win. But I think it'll be exciting, though. To your point, I think a lot of goals will come from this one.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see if either side comes out on top. Now, you said you wanted to cover a bit of transfer news before we get out of here.
Yeah, really. I mean, there's a couple of big teams that got some big transfers. One, West Ham went and got Evan Ferguson, who hasn't played a ton for Brighton. He's a younger guy. But last year, he was their goal scorer. Mm-hmm. So kind of strange that Brighton would loan him over. Tottenham, they ended up loaning this guy named Mathis Tell, although I'm not sure he's actually on their team yet. It was really weird. It was like the loan is in place, but then Postecoglou was like, he'll be here in the summer. So I don't know if he's actually on their team, but that one went through. The biggest mover, I think, the two teams were, 1, Aston Villa, and 2, Man City. Mm-hmm. Man City spent close to £200 million. If you followed Premier League, you know that some of those players have already played. Omar Marmoush, the biggest one. Nico Gonzalez from Porto just came in on the deadline. biggest miss here, Kyle Walker leaves. Apparently there was some drama there. He went around Pep Guardiola to request a transfer.
Uh-oh.
Because Pep said, you're not going to leave in January. So he went around to the board, to the old executive up there, Tiki. He said, hey, I want to leave. I'm going to cause a fit if I don't get to. So kind of strange for him to do that. Another highlight, Chelsea recalled Gabby Slonina. So that's actually, apparently they're thinking about playing him, because Sanchez has been doing so poorly that we might see a USA keeper don a Chelsea fit. And if he plays well, I mean, I'm okay with that.
Listen, the United States has a pedigree of Premier League goalkeepers, all right? You know, we had, I think Ethan Horvath got some minutes. Of course, Timmy is the highlight, obviously. Tim Howard.
Brad Friedel was on Tottenham for a long time. I saw Brad Guzan for Middlesbrough live and in person.
I mean, Zach Steffen had a Manchester City minute, possibly.
Yeah,
in the FA Cup.
I think when we wrapped up the Premier League season at like Matchday 32 a couple seasons ago, he played quite a bit.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, we've got some guys. Aston Villa, the biggest movers. They got Marcus Rashford on loan.
Yeah.
Very big deal. Rashford's first ever Premier League experience outside of a Man U shirt. They got Marco Asensio from PSG. Very big transfer on loan. Another guy named Daniel Malin they bought from Dortmund, who is kind of one of their starting wingers. So Villa, they replenished their wing and attackers. I think they were the winners of the transfer window. Arsenal were the losers. They literally went into the transfer window saying, we're going to buy a number 9. We're going to buy our striker. And then by the end of it, Arteta is complaining and arguing with interviewers like, I never said that. We don't need a false 9. We're doing fine. Havertz is great. So, 30 days can make you forget a lot, but
yeah,
they're the losers of it. But I don't know. There wasn't, based on numbers, this was the most amount of money spent in a January window, I think, in 9 years. It was quite a bit. City, most of that money. But Aston Villa and City, I think, were the two winners just because they addressed needs, they improved, and I think we're going to see teams like Arsenal and Tottenham and Man U that just kind of gave players away but didn't improve at all. And they're going to start hurting.
I think you're forgetting that my Wolves are also winners because we kept Mateus Cunha.
That's right. The one transfer that didn't happen, Cunha. One shocking one, though, was Aston Villa selling John Duran.
Yes, that was
their Edin Dzeko, their super sub. They sold, the price tag, I think, was £60 million. So I would also have taken that if I were them.
Sell high.
But kind of shocking for them to do that because he was a big part of their team.
Yeah, Aston Villa's pretty good at selling high. You know, they sell guys when they're up top. And they just pocket that money like, I'll take it. I don't feel bad about it. All right. Well, hey, there's your quick rundown on the big moves here for the January window. It has now closed down, and we will see how our picks for Matchday 25 +1 for the Merseyside Derby rematch play out here over this following weekend. After this whole Super Bowl weekend, we'll get back into that EPL here. But until we do, and until we get over to, once we get past this Matchday 25, until then, why don't you go ahead and grab your coffee, watch some soccer,